Welcome back to Primetime Sports. I want to thank Jay Johnson. What a job in his second year, #1 in the country the entire season, and it looks like they're not stopping anytime soon. But we're going to shift gears to one of my favorite events that New Orleans has. Not Mardi Gras, it's not Jazz Fest, it's not even French Quarter Fest, but it's the Zurich Classic, and it's right in the same time as all these other things, and this has become one of these can't-miss events. Even if you don't like golf at all, you cannot help but have a great time when you get out there to the TPC because it's such a fun time. And a guy that I've known for over 40 years, I hate to say it, I must have been 2 years old when I met him, but his name is Kelly Gibson. He was a superstar golfer in high school, superstar golfer over there at Lamar in college, and then he went on to the PGA Tour. And he's played in a lot of majors, and he's played right here in New Orleans a few times. So we want to get his take on what's going on. But one of the big things he's done for 33 years is the Kelly Gibson Foundation, working with young kids through golf and making them better people. And here he is. Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you.
How you been, man?
I'm doing great, and I'm really happy to be back on your show. It's been fun always coming on the show, and this special week for me. So it's great to talk golf.
I mean, it seems like I talked to some of your mutual friends we have, and like, you know, you're in Ireland 2 months, and you're back here. How's that going? How's the club going out there, and are you still enjoying all that?
Yes. I'm actually going to be headed over there at the end of this week, Hogshead Golf Club in Waterville, Ireland. Yeah. It's a very special place, just kind of unbelievable beauty. The setting is incredible. The people are super nice. It's Robert Trent Jones Jr. golf design golf course. And I've been fortunate enough to be a part of it since day one. My official role now is Minister of Fun. So
that's the best card of all time.
It is.
I used to have a card when I was an agent with Pat Dye saying basketball agent. I mean, it was like, no, vice president of basketball. And then people were like, of the world? What are you talking about? So that one beats that Prime Minister of Fun. Speaking of Hogshead, I mean, listen, I'm on Twitter a lot. I've seen Paige Spearneck's thing. I mean, she gets on there a good bit, and she says she loves Hogshead.
Well, I don't think she's been over there.
But she said she loves it. She must have seen pictures.
Oh, yeah, no, we need to get her over there. It would blow up the internet for sure. No, it's fun. Some of your friends from Atlanta are members over there, and they get
talk
over
about it all the time. Trust me.
They get over there. It's a special place. I mean, right on the Atlantic Ocean in Waterville, Ireland. Kind of an iconic looking place, a bucket list type golf course. It's just, I'm very fortunate to be a part of it.
Now, would you have fun if you're not a good golfer? Like for instance, I just said you have fun to go to the Zurich Classic as a fan, even if you don't like golf, because it's such a great event. If I went over there with Lester or you, or Ed Malone, for instance, would I have fun going over there just if I wasn't very good at golf?
Well, Ed Malone, interestingly, I saw him yesterday with little Daddy Capshaw out at the Zurich Classic.
All of them?
All of them were out there at the Zurich Classic, and they haven't been yet, so we need to get them over there. It would be quite fun. I don't know if their game travels very well, though.
That's funny. Let's move on to this tournament because you've done great things with kids. I mean, you're doing clinics. I know have you done yours yet this week, or is it going to be all week? How's that work?
No, actually today at 1 o'clock, we're going to be out there. This will be my 33rd year. I would have had 34 years in a row. COVID knocked us out 1 year. It's really a privilege and an honor for me to be able to give back in a small way through golf and through the Zurich Classic. I've been fortunate to be part of I think the 4Kids Foundation since 1996 or 97, and this is the one day of the year that I really look forward to. You know, we try to do as good a job as we can. We get a big crowd. Sometimes we run into spring break or testing this time of the year. Kids are doing tests. So, but hopefully we'll have a nice crowd out there today. I usually drag some of the pros in to hit some shots, and it's always been fun.
Well, since it's 7:15, you must have had a good time. I hope it was fun today. Hey, by the way, let's talk about I have to ask this, and I don't know if this is touchy with golfers, but the Live Golf versus PGA. It's almost like you have to choose. Obviously, the people like yourself in the PGA, you love the PGA. Yeah. But, you know, I'm looking at the other side. As an agent, I have to look at both sides. One of my players, and people will be like, you know, he's asking for too much money. It's like, well, he's asking for what he can get. And that's what life's about as far as capitalism goes. I mean, whether you like it or not, that's what people do. They try to get the most. So it's hard for me to look at these guys and say they're traders because they're just taking care of their family. But in a way, I love the history of golf and the sanctity of golf. So in a way, I do feel like they are a little bit. What's an actual PGA golfer that's retired? What is your take on this whole thing?
Well, I think it's really a shame how it's all been handled. Personally, for me, I just don't like seeing that the players going at each other the way they are.
It's not common.
It's well, that, and then they just made it seemed like it got dirty, and then I don't think the leaders really handled it very well. They could have got behind closed doors and maybe gotten a resolution on the table or found some common ground to find a better path than to drag the whole sport through the mud like they're doing.
Right.
I think it was disappointing for so many fans. And it's disappointing for the players too. Look, the players, obviously they're playing for money. And if somebody's going to wave $200 million or $100 million in front of you, you have to think about that. I mean, I know some of these guys are one injury away from being where I'm sitting, right?
That's it,
and
They
have to think of it in those terms. Some of the young guys that are getting this opportunity to play, you can't deny what they're doing. I think there's been a lot of misinformation on both sides, and that's really a discredit to all the people who played before them, who built the PGA Tour. I don't like the way some of Greg Norman's actions have been, but I think they should have found common ground and made it. Golf's always been a great gentleman's sport,
right,
if you will,
absolutely.
and a ladies' sport, and I think they got into the mud a little bit too much.
Well, it's bound to happen once I heard the numbers being tossed. And I got to ask you a question because, obviously some of them played the Masters, and obviously they're banned from most tournaments. What was it like? I mean, just from your perspective, from some of the guys seeing someone, they said it was like old times, that was in the media, and it was good to see your old friends. But some of these guys had words in the past. So, it had to be a little bit icy at times.
Well, people think that pros are like best friends. They're trying to beat each other. I mean, I didn't see that a lot. They might be close friends. They might have went to college. They might have been college roommates. And they might be certain bonds. But you can bet once they tee off on the first hole, they're only worried about one person winning, and that's themselves. And if they're saying anything else, if they're pulling for another guy, I mean, that's all for television, because behind the closed doors, you don't see a lot of hugging in the locker room when it comes to professional golf. You see some high fives, maybe Ryder Cup, you see them pulling for each other, but the reality is you're out there as a solo competitor, and you've got one job, and that's to succeed on the golf course, to play against the golf course and try to post the best score for the week. And so it's man on man, and that's how it is. And I think television tries to play into this friendship thing and all the drama because it adds to the story a little bit. But they're trying to win, and they're trying to make money, and they're getting these opportunities now. I think it's interesting how the PGA Tour is all of a sudden coming up with all these new avenues for players to make money.
Right. Well,
money that's been sitting on the table.
They have to, right.
With television contracts. Yes. And I think it's really, really going to hurt tournaments. I think at the end of the day, the sponsors and the local, some of these tournaments that are not getting to the elevated on the PGA Tour are going to struggle.
Well, listen, it's already affecting this tournament, which is the match play. I mean, the tandem play has made this a special thing. But when you got guys that love to come here, like Dustin, obviously Cam Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, these are personalities too. These are people everybody loves, and they love the city. I don't want to get too more in that, but I have to ask you real quick before I get into this matchup we have here and some of the interesting pairings. The Netflix documentary. See, I have a little insight on this because, Smiley Kaufman's dad is a good friend of me and a few others, but John Brady, me mostly, because he was in Birmingham. That's where Smiley's from. So I got some insight on Justin Thomas and obviously Jordan Spieth and that whole little rat pack they got. Yeah. They really are good friends. I mean, they love to beat the hell out of each other, trust me, but they are good friends. So seeing it, after hearing all the stories for 3 or 4 years, or 5 years, whatever, and seeing it on TV, and they're just rebbing each other nonstop. Justin Thomas went in a slump, and Jordan Spieth was not letting him up. Yeah. And then with Jordan, when he hit his little slump, Justin's like, "You suck, I got you." Yeah. So that's fun to me.
It's fun, and that part of it, yes, that's a reality. I think the part that I was trying to emphasize is, like, back when I was playing, top 10 players hung out with top 10 players because they get paired together. Yeah. They eat at the same time. Yeah. They're eating at the restaurants at the same time. Their wives are walking along the rope. Their families are getting to know each other in the crowd. And so there's a little bit of camaraderie there. But the top 10 players out there are not hanging out.
Tiger and Phil are coming to mind when they were really good, and I can't imagine them hanging out much.
Everybody likes that. interaction. You know, Arnie had Jack Nicklaus. Tom Watson had Jack Nicklaus and Seve Ballesteros, and then Ballesteros had him versus the world.
Right.
And
he was
so,
one of my favorites,
and then you had Nick Faldo and Greg Norman and Curtis Strange, and so you've had this. Then you had Duvall taking a run at Tiger. You had Tiger taking a run at Duvall, and you know you had John Daly in the mix. You had all these great stories, but I was out there for 15 years, and you know I didn't see the guys in the top 30 hanging out with the guys, you know, 75 through 125 that often. Some of them did because they were childhood friends or college friends, or they went through the mini tours together.
Hey, speaking of Duvall, there he is right there. The great segue, by the way. I lived in Atlanta for 20 years. He was a great player at Georgia Tech. People forget, this is a pairing of guys 51 and 56 years old, but they were both at the top of the game. That's old Daly right there with the beard. That's what you're going to probably see something like that this week. And there's young Daly. But Daly came on the scene in '91. We all know he won the PGA tournament out of nowhere. They both won the British Open, or the Open Championship, whatever you want to call it. But Daly, people forget, was #1 in the world from '91 to 2002, maybe.
Yeah.
And we all know that Duvall was #1, and we all know Daly's story. So there's a lot of good pairings, but for me, I know they're not going to probably win. They're long shots because they're old. But this would be a fun duo to because I would never put them together as people.
Oh, it makes me want to dust off the clubs,
right,
you know.
Right.
I was working with a good friend of mine last week, Uncle Wayne Pace, and he was saying, hey, you ought to take another run at the tournament. And I said, I'm a little bit too old. And then all of a sudden I see John Daly and David Duvall playing together. And then, you know, people are going, why don't you call David Toms and try one more time? Right, yeah. And I go, well, David's playing a lot better than.
No. And you didn't read the paper? He's got razor burn. Toms can't come.
He's got razor burn.
Yeah, he hurts, he said. So he can't play.
He's hurt. That's why he's not playing this week. Yeah. Right. No, but I think they're going to do great. You know, it'll be interesting for me to see the perspective of how long John Daly hits it compared to the guys playing now.
Yeah.
And David Duvall was not short, by the way, either. Yeah. He was very long in his prime. So I kind of want to watch that this week to see, you know, how these guys, hopefully they get a little mojo going, and you know, and they can get in there at the end of the week and kind of create an audience for television.
It would be fun, wouldn't it?
It would be great.
And by the way, Duvall has never been a very outgoing guy, you know, but his fall was precipitous, and we've seen this in other sports. But I don't want to get too much into that. But I'm just hoping he has fun and has out there, because he was always just the steely guy, never looked like he had fun. But I've seen him a little bit lately. He seems like he's loosened up a bit. But let's get to the real contenders, the ones that people expect to win, possibly. Obviously, the defending champions, you can't deny Cantlay and Schauffele.
Yeah, they're going to be tough to beat, and Cantlay's playing very well right now, and they kind of buzzed through the tournament last year. They won pretty easily. There wasn't a lot of pressure on them the last day, so it'd be interesting to see. You know, sometimes courses fit people's eyes a little bit better, and maybe these guys get some magic again this year. But you got Sam Burns is going to be tough.
LSU boy.
Yeah, if he gets the crowd behind him, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I anticipate having a really big crowd out there because the weather forecast is looking spectacular.
That's a good team right there, by the way, because Horschel loves this course.
Oh, he loves it.
He's won it himself. He's won in tandem.
Yeah.
And I love Horschel because he's like care, man. I mean, like, it is a gentleman's sport, but he's refreshing because he just says what he feels, and he doesn't. He used to watch it a little bit, but now he just says, screw it, I'm just going to be myself.
Yeah, he just reminds me of like a classic athlete. You know, he's the quarterback that wants to fight on every play to the end of the game. He reminds you of a pitcher that's just trying to strike out everyone. He just looks like a really strong athlete when he plays golf. I love his golf swing, and he loves this golf course. He loves New Orleans. He's got a lot of friends here, and so obviously he's had tremendous success, and that's going to bode well for their team.
Real quick, I'm going to go through just 3 or 4 more interesting pairings. You don't have to just give me a few words on each of them. Morikawa and Homa. I love Max Homa. I love his potential. What about this crew? Because Morikawa is a technician.
I actually got to play with Morikawa 2 years ago in the Pro-Am here, and I was so impressed. For a young guy to be that mature, and his game is just rock solid. He's going to be around for quite a while. I don't really know Max Homa, but he's really hot. He's one of the hottest players out there right now.
What other pairings do you like in this?
Well, I mean, I think Cantlay and Xander are going to be there. I think that's the premier pairing.
Well, how about this one? My favorite right now is Matt Fitzpatrick, because he's obviously the U.S. Open reigning champion. He obviously just won the Heritage this week. And I have a text that he sent his brother on how he got in the tournament. Hey, what are you doing April 17th? His brother is not a big-time golfer, but he plays and he's good. Are you free?
Well,
he goes, how come? Yeah, I'm free. He goes, well, we're playing the Zurich then. That's the best invitation I've ever seen.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd like to get a few of those when I was younger myself. But he had a hell of a week last week. You know, I mean, some impressive shots down the stretch. Obviously, going up against Jordan Spieth and winning, and then you know, wouldn't that be the phenomenal story of the year?
That was Sunday, right? Right there.
If his brother hits the winning shots and puts him in back-to-back wins, I don't know exactly what, sponsorship exemptions his brother might get out of this. If they play well, I think it counts. If they win,
see the love for his brother there.
Oh, no
After
doubt.
Winning the tournament, the U.S. Open. I mean, you just couldn't wait to hug him.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to hug you every time I see you, bro. Go Cavs.
Go Cavs. Go Cavs.
How about the Razor Burn? I mean, I knew him in college because he's my contemporary. You're my age, but you went away. Tom's and I, were at LSU at the same time, so he used to get a lot.
Yeah, he's one of the best putters I've ever played with. You'd see him go through a green, and the green would have razor burn after he was putting on it.
On closing, I remember introducing Nick Saban after he won the national championship in Atlanta at the Atlanta Touchdown Club. Tom's flew in just to see this 5-minute Saban, well, not 5, probably 15-minute Saban speech. That's how much he loves LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
And, hey, by the way, Kelly Gibson, you're doing great things. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Hey, and get out to the Zurich Classic. I'm telling you, it's a blast. Last year I went 3 of the 4 days. I don't think I can make 3 this year, but I'm going to try to get out there twice, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hey, tomorrow, Wednesday, they got, what are they doing Wednesday? There's Pro-Am yesterday.
Pro-Am. They got Pro-Am, full field Pro-Am.
Full field Pro-Am.
With the big stars on Wednesday.
And that's just as fun or more fun. Actually, you have more access there. So get out to the Zurich Classic and support one of the great events New Orleans has to offer. And speaking of great things, we're going to talk to a man that is doing great things for the city of New Orleans. That's right, for our youth. And that's what we need. We need to bring the youth up. And we need to help them, all of us do, through sports, through music, through cooking, whatever you do, through sewing, make Mardi Gras costumes. We're going to talk about a guy that's doing it through sports, and I cannot wait. His name is Lowry Cruz, and he's with the 18th Ward. And we're going to tell you all about that. It's a great organization helping others. Right back on Primetime Sports. Good to see you.